ABC Jack here. Welcome back to Vinyl Martini. It's been a while since I've done a video. Just been busy. I've been in Vancouver visiting my daughter and granddaughter, things around the house, and things just got away from me. Anyways, I am going to do a Rolling Stones tag that was put out, probably about 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago by my good buddy in Oslo, Morten Aastad. He's got 26 questions. I've been buddies with Morten for a long time, and happy to do this, support his channel. And I haven't seen very many people respond to this tag, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. There's 26 questions, like I said, I think, and I'm going to get started because this is going to take a while. When? Your first memory of the Rolling Stones? Well, first memory was seeing them on the Ed Sullivan Show. It was, I think, late October 1964. They did Around and Around, this could be the last time, I think, and the two covers. And I was, of course, in February of '64, the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I became an instant Beatles fan. It's like everything Beatles to me. So I wasn't really that impressed with the Rolling Stones. They weren't cute enough, I guess, and I was only 9 years old, so I guess cute was more in keeping with what I was all about. And it wasn't until later on that I got into the Stones. And we'll talk about that later on because there's some questions dealing with that later. So 1964, the Rolling Stones. Your first Stones album, the first Stones album I bought probably wasn't until 1970, I guess, when I started buying records. We didn't have a record player in our house. I didn't come from that type of household, but the first record I bought was a copy of Between the Buttons. Great record, by the way. I think it was the first record they put out in '66 when all the songs were penned by Jagger and Richards. So some great songs on here. Let's Spend the Night Together, Yesterday's Papers, Ruby Tuesday, Connection is a great song, She Smiles Sweetly, Cool, Calm, and Collected. My Obsession's on here, Complicated, Something Happened to Me Yesterday. Brian Jones still with the band, still a vital member of the band. So this is a pretty good record. Yeah, so that's the first record I bought for some reason. Although there was lots of records that I liked, like Beggar's Banquet, etc., that had been put out before that. So my first record, Between the Buttons. I should mention right away that I thought that I had more Stones records, and in my mind I had copies of Sticky Fingers, I had Tattoo You, but I don't seem to have it. So I am not a completist, but I have enough records to show that I can answer all these questions in any case. So I'm going to do my best. The first Stones act, the last time, your latest Rolling Stones acquisition. Well, I got a nice clean copy of Goat's Head Suit out of a collection that I perused in an estate sale. So picked this up for a couple of bucks. That's my latest acquisition, but I consider solo records Rolling Stone records as well. I kind of lump them all into the Rolling Stones. And the last real good one that I got is a Keith Richards compilation. It's called Vintage Winos, and it is like I said, a compilation of Keith's first two records and some live tracks. And it's kind of a little disappointing. I don't usually buy stuff like this. This was a sealed record that was on sale. It was like 37 bucks, so that was like 12 bucks off the list price. So I thought that was a good deal, but it's only 3 sides. I mean, come on, you're gonna put out a compilation and then have an etched side on the 4th side? You couldn't fill it out with more tracks? Very, very disappointing in that regard. But anyways, still like the record, still happy I bought it. I wrote all these things down, so I hope I can read my own writing. Your favorite member of the Rolling Stones? Well, it's gotta be Keith Richards, right? And people used to ask me, like, do you like the Rolling Stones? And they've been asking me that for years and years. And my stock answer was, well, Keith and Charlie are all right, aren't they? So those are my 2 favorite members of the band, and Charlie's gone, so I guess Keith is my favorite member of the band. He's the last one of the last ones standing, let's put it that way. Your favorite question number 5, your favorite Rolling Stone lead guitarist? Oh man, they all have so much going for them. Brian did some brilliant work. Mick Taylor did some great work. Ronnie, I'm not sure. It's hard to figure out who's playing lead guitar there. Is it Ronnie or is it Keith? And I think Keith is a great, probably the greatest rhythm guitarist ever. But he's no slouch on lead guitar either. So I'm a Keith fan. So I'm going to say Keith is my favorite lead guitarist. Number 6, the question set reads, happy Rolling Stone experience that makes you glad. Well, I think maybe, I think the first time I heard Exile was in 1973. Is that when they released Exile? 1973. I was up at a cabin and I was listening to a radio station, and an FM radio station back in the day when it wasn't all formatted, and they played the whole record in its entirety. It was a beautiful summer day. We were swimming in the pond. So that was a great day, but another happy day for me was the day Ronnie was really confirmed as a member of the band, because I thought that finally they're going to have somebody that fits in the band perfectly. I'm a big Ronnie Wood fan. I thought that he'd be a good buddy to Keith for one thing, and I love the way he plays guitar. It's kind of dirty and can be dirty and clean and raunchy. So yeah, the day Ronnie joined the band, that was a good moment for me. Number 7, artsy. What is your favorite album cover? Well, I guess my favorite album cover is a toss-up, I think, between Satanic and It's Only Rock and Roll. And in retrospect, Satanic never got any, didn't get any love when it was first put out, but in retrospect, it's a really, really good record. There's a couple of clunkers on there. This record is not my favorite, although I love this cover. I forget the artist, and I'm not going to pull it out and try to find it here. I should have done that before, but the great cover for It's Only Rock and Roll. More about this later. Unique. Do you have a Rolling Stone object or special thing in your collection? Well, got quite a few bootlegs here, so those are special things in my collection. I have a box set, a deck of box set. This is a French press, I think. It's very, very glittery. If anybody has a daughter here and they've played with this glitter stuff that they make artwork with, you'll know that you hate this stuff. And I'm very, very careful with this because I don't want this to run off and fall off, which it's liable to do. You can see little specks there. So you got to be really careful with that. And to make this even more unique, it's a 5-record box set of all their Decca material. Not all their Decca material, but highlights of their Decca recording career. And it came with a t-shirt, and I still have the t-shirt in the plastic bag. As you can see, it's got that glitter on it. It just says Rolling Stones. I've looked this up on Discogs. The box set isn't worth quite as much as I thought, and I've talked about that on my most valuable record CD, or video, I should say. And I don't really look out for that, but I've never seen a set for sale that comes complete with that t-shirt. So that's unique. And back in the days when I was a young man, I have a permanent memento of the Rolling Stones. And when I was 19 years old, I got a tongue tattoo. Don't ask me why. That's a story for another day, and I've talked about that tattoo story before on the channel. So look it up if you want to. Bookworm, your favorite Rolling Stone book or magazine in print. I do not collect books. I read a lot of books about bands, the Beatles, the Stones, punk scene, etc., etc. But I get all of my book material from the library. Now, I have enough problems storing all the records I get, and I am, I'm more of a reading maniac than I am a music maniac, and I read all the time. I read a lot, and I cannot, first of all, afford the books, and I can't afford to store books and put shelves up for books, because I would just have thousands and thousands of books, and it's got to be one or the other. So the book that I recommend is a very, very slim volume. And this one's just off the top of my head. And it's, I think it's called Keith Richards in Words, or Keith Richards Quotes. And it's quotes taken from various interviews that he did over the years. It's really a fast read, but it's a really fascinating insight into Keith Richards, and he's a pretty honest interviewee. He's not very cagey. If you ask him a question, he will try to answer it as best and truthfully as he can. He's not like Mick, who's a master at public relations. Mick is a really slippery character. And I guess he has to be because he's such a big star. So anyways, I don't know the title of that book, but if you ever see a slim volume that sounds like that, pick it up if you're a Keith Richards fan. You'll really enjoy it. Coming up to question number 10. Have you seen the Rolling Stones live? How many times and where? Well, I saw them in 1974. Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. This is the only time I've seen them live. And it was, they were touring It's Only Rock and Roll, which I consider one of their weaker records. I don't think it's their best effort, but it was great seeing them. And they just played a couple of songs from this album. I think they did Fingerprint File and It's Only Rock and Roll, of course. But it was fun seeing them. It was the days before you had the big screens, and I was in this big hockey rink. The sound was not that great, trust me. A lot of echo because it's a concrete building, etc. So I have seen the Rolling Stones, so I could check that one off my list. Living room live, tape, VHS, or Blu-ray. I don't collect those things. Again, I have enough problems with collecting records. I don't have room for any type of film format, so I don't have any. Funny ha-ha. Do the Rolling Stones have a sense of humor in their music? Or, I can't read that. Do they have a sense of humor? Well, I think a few songs are pretty humorous. I think Some Girls is a humorous song. Star Star is a pretty humorous song. But I went back on Discogs and looked at a listing of all the songs that they've ever done, and as far as their music goes, I don't think they are a very funny band. They certainly don't make fun of them. They don't have funny songs, really humorous songs, but I would say they have a sense of humor when they don't take themselves that seriously on interview situations. So yeah, they do have a sense of humor, but I don't think so in their music. That's just my opinion. Oh no, show us something that the Rolling Stones recorded that made you a doubting Thomas. Well, I don't have a copy of the record, but I would say Blue and Lonesome, their covers record. I thought, oh boy, if they're putting out a covers records, even though they're favorite blues songs, I thought they've hit the end of the road. When did they put that out? 90 something? Maybe more recent than that, maybe in the 2000s sometime. But I thought, oh boy, if they're putting out a covers record, they don't have any gas left in the tank. And I thought that's it for them. They're just going to be putting out re-releases, etc., etc. And they proved me wrong last year, the year before, when they did Hackney Diamonds. So I was glad to see them put that out. I don't have a copy of that either, but it was a pretty good record. I've streamed it. It's a pretty good record. Okay. Oh, So Low, a bad or good solo effort? Well, I think Bill Wyman put out a solo record, his first solo record, when they were on hiatus and he was getting a little restless and they were not getting together for tours and they weren't recording. And he put out an album called Monkey Grip. And again, I had it, I just can't seem to find it. I thought that it was a pretty disappointing effort. Not very musical, not that great. But on the other hand, Keith's put out a couple of solo records that are absolutely brilliant. This is Talk is Cheap. Love this record so much. Fantastic. Like I said, Keith's my favorite guy, and love his solo stuff. So yeah, Keith Richards, Talk is Cheap was a good solo record. Experiment, where they stepped away from their comfort zone. Well, everybody's going to say Satanic. It certainly was a step away. But I'm going to go and I'm going to pick out another record that I thought was a little bit experimental. Not like Satanic, but it was a different direction for them. And that's Black and Blue. It's the first record that Ronnie recorded with them. You see, Ronnie wasn't an official member of the band. And while I was looking at this and thinking about this record, I was looking at the credits, and they have this really handy thing that tells you who plays what and what track. And Ronnie is actually only playing guitar on about 2 or 3 tracks on this. He's not really that involved. The surprising thing that I forgot about was Harvey Mandel played lead on about 3 songs on this record, and he did a brilliant job. And the reason I think this is experimental, because this is a pretty funky record. The first, I don't think it's the first, maybe the first record that they did, they got into reggae. This is from 1976, I believe. And Hey Negrita's on here, Melody, Fool to Cry, really melodic song, Crazy Mama, Hot Stuff, really funky, Hand of Fate, good rock song, Cherry O Baby, again, the reggae kind of takeoff, and Memory Hotel, which is, yeah, just a little something different. It's a pretty good record that doesn't get talked about enough. I know they just released a box set or 50th anniversary edition of this, so I'm not going to get it because I'm perfectly happy with this copy. It's a nice clean copy that I've had since 1976, since it was released. Okay, where are we? Flipping the page. We're getting there. We're at 16 minutes already. But it's the same album, Show Your Duplicates. I do have more duplicates with the Stones than I do any other artist. So I do have a couple of copies of Satanic. I've got the Psyche cover. That's a Canadian pressing. I've got another copy that I picked up for cheap. It's a British pressing. Doesn't have the fancy photograph on the front, but it's a nice clean copy. It sounds great. For some reason, I have 3 copies of Goat's Head Soup. Like I said, I just picked up one on that estate sale, and I only have duplicates because I sometimes give records away just to people who I feel they need them or that they ask for them. If I have duplicates, I'm happy to give a record away. And I have 3 copies of Some Girls, which I will, there we go, 3 copies. So 3 different covers. That one, and that one. So I do have duplicates. I try not to have duplicates, but if I run across a Rolling Stones record for $2 or $5 or $7, I'll pick it up, and if it's good shape. So I do have some duplicates. Decades, the Rolling Stones song that speaks to you. Well, I think the one that just jumped in my head as soon as I heard that question was 19th Nervous Breakdown. That song is absolutely fucking brilliant. That is an earworm for sure. Just a fantastically produced song. Their finest song that they released. Well, I guess it's a toss-up between Satisfaction and that song, but that's the one that I really, really love. Brian Jones did a superb job on that, and just a great song. Maybe the first or second great song that they released as a single, and it's only available as a single. I think I don't think it appeared on any of their albums. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. Decades, favorites from each decade, and you don't have to include the noughts, the 10s, the 20s. Those can be skipped. So I can't do the 90s, but I can do the 60s. Again, I've got a toss-up between these 2 records from the 60s. Oops. Beggars and Let It Bleed. 2 brilliant records. Solid all the way through. Not a bad track on either of those records. For the 70s, I would say, if I got to pick, I'm going to say Sticky was probably their best record from the 70s. I say that. I don't even have a copy to show you, which I have to. I've got to get a copy of Sticky Fingers. And Exile. So this is the one I have. So this is the one that I play the most. double record to be improved if it was not cut back to one album. I think there's too many good songs, but definitely 3 sides and an etched side. I'd accept that. But yeah, another thing I want to say about this is everybody says this is a really muddy record. I disagree with that. This thing is clear as a bell. It's fantastic. Put some headphones on and it's not muddy at all. I don't know why everybody keeps on talking about the muddy sounding Exile on Main Street, but it's a brilliant record. And like I said, it's one of my happiest experiences hearing that in the summer of '73. Show a 7-inch. Can't do it. Don't have any singles. I don't collect singles either. Show an EP or a 10-inch. Well, I do have some EPs. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show you my 80s record. I would say the best record they did in the 80s was Tattoo You, which were kind of remainders after Some Girls. So some tracks they had left over from there. So that's a pretty good record, and I've been giving this a spin lately. Emotional Rescue is not too bad either. So that's all. I can't show you. I do have other 80s records, but yeah, not so great. Okay, we're getting down to question number 20. Show an EP or a 10-inch. Well, I have some EPs. They're monos, and they are re-releases. I think they were re-released in around 1974 and 1975. The Rolling Stones with You Better Move On, Poison Ivy, Bye Bye Johnny, and Money. Another one got Live If You Want It. We Want the Stones, Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, Pain in My Heart, Get Your Kicks on Route 66, Moving On, and I'm All Right. And finally, this does not have, no, it's 5x5. I lie, it is, again, it's in mono, and it's got If You Need Me, Empty Heart, 2120 South Michigan Avenue, Confessing the Blues, and Around and Around. So there you go, 3 EPs that I have. Behave, a moment that they were not at their best. I would say the decision to have a concert at Altamont. And it's not that they were behaving badly. I think their intentions were good. I think they were a little naive because they wanted to sort of thank their fans for that North American tour in '69. Things went awry, of course. There was a lot of violence. Of course, the Hells Angels were hired as security, and that was sort of, it wasn't in their hands entirely. They did it on the advice of some San Francisco band, said they'd be all right. And it just didn't turn out very well. And I think, again, it was just because they were naive and they couldn't find the right venue, and a number of circumstances conspired against them. So, yeah, Altamont. I used to go see, what was the name of the movie about Altamont? Gimme Shelter. And Gimme Shelter used to be shown every Saturday night at an art house movie theater in Toronto every Saturday or Friday night at 11 o'clock. And I didn't go see it weekly, but I would go see it probably monthly, maybe every 6 weeks or so. So I've seen that movie around 7 or 8 times. If you've never seen it, try to get a copy. It is well worth the viewing pleasure, which deals with the Altamont concert and the 1969 tour. Pretty good stuff. All I Need. Show your favorite compilation album. Well, I've got many compilation albums, to tell you the truth, and I think that I love this one. This is more Hot Rocks, Big Hits, and Phase Cookies. Most people are more familiar with the first Hot Rocks they put out, but this one is pretty good. It's got a lot of their early stuff on here. It's got stuff from Satanic, etc., etc. Some stuff from Gimme Shelter, not Gimme Shelter. My brain isn't working right now. Let It Bleed, etc., etc. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of the early stuff. But if you don't want to have a double one and you don't want to be concerned about all the covers they did in the early days, this one is an excellent compilation. Big hits, High Tide and Green Grass. It's got, if you're just looking for the early singles and the Decca, from the Decca years, this one has got side one, Satisfaction, The Last Time, As Tears Go By, Time Is On My Side, It's All Over Now, Tell Me. On side two, they've got 19th Nervous Breakdown, Heart of Stone, Get Off My Cloud, Not Fade Away, Good Times, Bad Times, Play with Fire. So that is a dynamite compilation if you can find that. This is in mono. Picked it up in a collection for next to nothing, so really happy to have that. For early material, if you don't want to pick up all the records, I highly recommend picking up this for the Decca years. And that's the problem with compilations, is because there's the Decca years and then there's the Rolling Stone label years, and this one is one of the few that I have compilations for the Rolling Stone record label. And this is, of course, Made in the Shade. Basically hits from Sticky and Exile, Brown Sugar, Tumbling Dice, Happy, Dance Little Sister, Wild Horses, Angie, Bitch, It's Only Rock and Roll, Heartbreaker, and Rip This Joint. So just material from a couple of records, but pretty good stuff. And there's lots of other comps out there, but those are the ones that I have, and those are the ones I can show you. Staying in, show your favorite live album. Well, I guess one of my favorite live albums is, my favorite live album that they released is Get Your Yeah-Yeahs Out from the 1969 tour that we were talking about. Yeah, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Carol, Straight Cat Blues, Love in Vain, Midnight Rambler, Sympathy for the Devil, Live With Me, Little Queenie, Honky Tonk Women, Street Fighting Man. Yeah, that tour was just great. Finally got it together with a big production company, big touring company. Did it really professionally, and this was a bit of a comeback tour for them because they hadn't toured in 3 years or something like that before that. So they came back in '69, excuse me, and gave it their all. So pretty good live record. But I also have a bootleg that I want to show. This is the Rolling Stones in Exotic Honolulu. Some later stuff. It's got Brown Sugar, Bitch, Rocks Off, Gimme Shelter, It's All Over Now, Tumbling Dice, Dead Flowers, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Rip This Joint, and Jumpin' Jack Flash. So very, very well-recorded record, good sounding record. The Rolling Stones in 1975, I believe? 74. It's 75 tour or 74? 75, I'm going to say. The Rolling Stones in Exotic Honolulu. Coming up to the end, guys. Why? Why did you start your Rolling Stones journey? Well, it started about 1969 or so, just at the end of the Beatles run. And it started more seriously in 1970 after the Beatles broke up. I started to like a harder sound, and the Rolling Stones were there, and they provided that. And yeah, I just dug them. They're deeper, they're darker, they're more mysterious, and started my journey more seriously in 1970 after the Beatles just split up. So that's when I got really interested in them, and I worked in a record store in 1973 to end of 1975, and one of the fellows that I worked with was an absolute Rolling Stones nut, like a fanatic. He had everything. And he used to deal in bootleg records. He had a guy in North Carolina that he bought his bootlegs from, and I would buy my bootlegs from Paul. He would get them from North Carolina, and that's where I got all these bootlegs from. And he would talk Rolling Stone stuff all the time. He really loved them, and that's where my interest was further spurred on. And I kind of lost interest around I'm going to say about 1984, 1985. I was just into other things besides collecting records. I was, married, had kids, paying for a mortgage, so I was not into buying records. And now that I'm back into it, yeah, I pick up Rolling Stone stuff whenever I can, whenever I run across it, and they're in good condition, and the price is right. So that's my Rolling Stone journey. can't always get what you want. What do you want from them? Well, I guess I'd like to hear another record. I know that the rumor mill has been going on that they are going to release another record this year. I think some of them are songs that did not make it onto Hackney Diamonds, so it's an album a lot. It seems to me that it's going to be an album that's a lot like Tattoo You. Um, but I'd be happy to see a new record from them. Whether I'm going to buy it or not, I don't know. I'll stream it. But what I really like to see and is another record from Keith, of course. Rumors long had it that he recorded a country album that he wasn't ready to release. He was working on at the time he got arrested in Toronto, when he was sort of still some problems with the drugs. And I'd love to see that released, but if that's not possible, I'd like to see Keith do another record, because I think he's just a great artist. I think he probably saves his songs now for the band, and I don't blame him for that, but I would love to see another record from Keith. Okay, last question, number 26. Tops, their crowning achievement. Favorite album? I guess going by what I play, I'd have to say Exile. Not every song. There's a couple of songs that I would probably skip. I don't skip records. I don't skip songs when I have a record on the turntable, but if I had a CD of it, I'd probably skip a few songs. But right behind that record is Sticky Fingers. I think that's such a great song. I don't think there's a bad cut on that album. So love Sticky and love Exile. So that's my answer. There you go, 26 questions. It's over 30 minutes. Boy, if you stuck around listening to me jibber jabber about these guys for this long, thank you so much. Give me a like, give me a dislike. And if you are a new viewer and maybe contemplate giving me a sub. Anyways, till next time, I am going to go to a record fair on Sunday. And I am going to record I'm going to do another tag. I'm going to do a Beatles tag. It's another band that I don't really dwell on very much. So thanks for watching. Till next time. Cheers, guys.